What?
My perfect going live record. Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? Give us a shout out and let us know where you're from. We got an awesome guest here. Let me get the live stream up so I can see what everybody's saying. Give me 1 second here. Get out of there and let me get you up.
There we are. Oh, we're all in like a weird row.
Yeah, because everybody's on their phones or their tablets. That's why.
I'm not. I'm on a laptop.
You on a PC?
Yeah, but we're like all in a perfect row. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know why.
There's a lot. There's a lot of like empty space over here.
Yeah, well.
It's a shame. Never mind.
Get over it. All right, guys. Yeah, let us know where you're from. We got an awesome show tonight. It got switched up a little bit on Friday. I got a message from Adam saying he had some previous stuff came up. He couldn't be on the show, but Annie was going to be on the show as well. And Annie doesn't need any introduction. She's been on the show before, and she has her own show starting on Paranormal Warehouse. When is that? Next Tuesday, the 6th? February 6th?
The February the 5th.
Okay.
That's correct. I think, if I can read calendars. And we're so sad that Kimmel could not be a part of the show tonight. We found out that every other Sunday is his man Brazilian wax time.
Yes,
and so we didn't want to cut into that. And so
that's why he has sometimes he has like a real sort of weird pain face on a Monday.
Well, he walks kind of weird sometimes.
Like,
he kind of does the bow-legged thing when you see him in some video.
Yeah.
He just had his anal waxing done and all that. So
that's true.
He should do what Greg does and just get it bleached.
I don't.
He said he was getting it bleached.
You should. It looks so much better when it's bleached. But with me, it's my whole ass.
I'm pretty sure it looks like a cactus.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with manscaping, and I salute all of you who do it because, we appreciate that. So thank you to everyone who manscapes and gets your Brazilian man wax. Happy Sunday.
Guys, I want to
Speaking of which,
I want to say hi to
I'm still drinking wine.
I'm going to give a little shout out here to everybody. Liverpool, Coletta from Liverpool, UK, Manchester, UK, Carrie. Hello from Media, Ohio. Tony, say hi there. East Kentucky,
Bristol,
Elizabeth.
Wait, UK representing.
Hi from
that didn't feel natural to say at all.
Illinois, Debbie. Iowa, Julia. Let's see, Melanie's watching. Belgium, Kitty from Belgium's watching. Texas, Hondo, Texas. Shelly. And Melanie from Middletown, Delaware. That's my wife, by the way.
Hey, wifey.
Yeah, she's always very supportive. But anyway, yeah. So like I said, Annie does not need any introduction. She's been on the show back, I want to say August, somewhere around there. She was on the show right before MadCon. Annie's been with Resident Undead for over a year or so now. But the cool part, the reason she's on the show tonight is not just to talk about Resident Undead or Mad or any of that stuff. It's talk about her new show coming up. What is it called, Annie?
So, after I had you on the show, on my show, Are You Weebs Radio, back in the fall, we started talking about, kind of joining forces. And so, on Tuesday, February the 5th, we will start Are You Weebs live from Paranormal Warehouse. I was telling the guys earlier, I have some awesome guests already lined up, and I'm so freaking excited to be a part of the Paranormal Warehouse family. I can't, literally when Daryl talked to me about it, I'm like, I don't think this is real. I've been I've done my live radio show for quite a while now, about a year and a half, and never imagined that it would be a part of something like this. And so I'm grateful to everyone who wants to be a part of it. You'll probably be disappointed. I'm just kidding.
No. I've been on the show before, and I tell you what, it's top notch, and you deserve to be on Paranormal Warehouse. You really do, and you deserve everything that comes after this, because Paranormal Warehouse is a great spot for
unlike us.
Yeah, unlike us.
No, and I'm so grateful for it, because I never imagined. I remember, Daryl, when you messaged me about, Mike contacting me, I was at Shay's house. And so I read it to myself, and I must have had this very strange look on my face, because he looks at me and he says, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "You're not going to believe this shit." And he was like, "What?" I'm like, Paranormal Warehouse. Here we go. And so it turns from something, radio that I love doing so much, to something that is just a much more broad spectrum type show. And so I'm super excited to get started. I have some amazing people lined up. I'm just really hoping I don't screw up the technical aspect of it in the first couple of shows. That's my biggest fear.
We all done that. I mean, our first show, Kimball was on our first show, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, his voice was. Yeah,
his voice.
Our first show, we couldn't get the video to work. Well, I say Daryl. Daryl couldn't get anything to work.
Yeah,
I mean, technically, that wasn't meant to be our first show. The first show, he couldn't get anything to work.
Audio was the second show, yeah. So Adam was on the first show, and the first week, and it bombed because we couldn't get anything to work right. And then the second week, Adam came back, and it was just audio. We were getting better, so it was just audio. So we just went with that, and I forget who the third show was or whatever. But I mean, it grew from there. It got better,
I literally think the first 10 shows, I think nearly all of them were from Resident Undead.
We had Girls vs. Ghost. We've had there was a couple of people in there too.
Because that you can't piss any of us off enough that we would be like, "We're not doing your show anymore." We're like, "Yeah, we're there for you guys."
God damn it! What do we have to do to piss them off?
We're trying. Hopefully
you tried so hard, Alex. It didn't work.
Hopefully, telling everybody that Adam's getting his anal bleaching done will piss him off enough, or he won't be back. He won't invite us any more Mad Cons or nothing.
I literally said that Alex's British accent was fake, and he still wants to talk.
I was literally drinking as you said that, and I spit it out, literally. And if I was wearing a monocle, it would have fallen out.
I was trying not to be a super asshole, but when Daryl says, "Oh yeah, just really give us the just kind of give us down the road," I was like, "All right, here we go." So I sat down and I wrote it out, and that's what happened.
Yeah. So are you doing so on your new show that's starting on PW Paranormal Warehouse? So are we going back to where it's going to be about serial spirits? That's what we're talking about, right?
No. So,
are you? That one.
You were so wrong, Daryl. No. So, Paranormal Warehouse is going to be a combination of everything. It's going to be paranormal. It's going to be, and I've talked to Mike, who runs Paranormal Warehouse, about this. Anybody who knows me knows that I have this deep-seated love for serial killers and murder. It's right here in my black heart.
Well, it's something I think quite a lot of us are sort of weirdly into.
Yes. So it's unsolved mystery. I was the creepy kid, in the back of the class, who was super excited to watch Unsolved Mysteries and see Robert Stack kind of come creeping out of the shadows in that trench coat. And you're like, yes, it's Robert Stack, and he's going to tell me all the scariest shit in the world. And so that's kind of what, when we do Serial Spirits, which is the podcast that Brendan, Shay, and I do together, we touch on all of that. We do paranormal, we do serial killers, unsolved mysteries, legends, lore, everything.
Have you guys done Jack the Ripper yet?
So, no. And I have a contact for Jack the Ripper, Jeff Mudgett, who, if you guys haven't seen that show on the History Channel, I had Jeff Mudgett on my radio show a year or so ago, maybe. We just started Serial Spirits back in late September, early October, and we do bi-weekly shows because it's a pre-recorded podcast. Shay does all the editing. Just recently, I started creating all the original music for it. And so it's kind of this labor of love. It's our creative labor of love, but it's also our outlet for telling all of these really messed up stories. And so that's what Serial Spirits is about. But I got the okay to kind of carry that over into Are You Weebs Live and talk some about true crime, unsolved mysteries, serial killers, all that kind of stuff on Are You Weebs Live with Paranormal Warehouse. And I'm super excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, Jeff's been on the show before. He's awesome. We had him on right when Bloodstains first came out. We talked about the book a lot. And, yeah, he is definitely the go-to guy when it comes to Jack the Ripper, in my opinion.
Well, one of them. I know others.
You can't get... But he's actually related to the dude, man.
Well, no, he's related to H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, which who everybody believes is Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
But so I had never really studied that story at all. And we had Jeff on the show. And after we had Jeff on the show, I went back and started doing, kind of some of my own research, diving down what Shay and I like to call the wormhole of weirdness that is our podcast. And he's got a solid case. And yes, I mean, it's amazing. I think he has an absolutely amazing case to believe that his great-grandfather was Jack the Ripper.
I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of suspects for Jack the Ripper, and I would say there's at least, including Jeff's theory, there's probably 2, 3, maybe 4 theories that are very strong cases for who they think Jack the Ripper is. So that's why I won't say outright who I think it is, because I think it's probably one of 3 people.
I have to put in a little side comment here that someone in the chat says that they want to see Kimmel get waxed.
Was that Brendan by any chance?
Yeah, probably Brendan.
It was not Brendan, actually.
We also have a question.
That was fantastic.
It's back a little ways, probably about 4 or 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
I've been meaning to answer it. Why is it always at night when the action starts? I lived in a haunted house, non-violent, for 2 years, and mostly it was at night. Any of us can answer that. Go.
I don't think it's that it's only at night when it happens. I think it's at night when you notice it the most, because your senses are at a different level. You're talking about your senses that you're using when you're paranormal investigating. I've had people ask me this question, I don't know how many times. And basically I say, because when you're in the dark, your other senses are heightened. Your sound, your smell. When you can't see shit, then that's when you start to use your other senses. Listen, I live.
What?
What's that? Unless you're down.
Well, he was blindfolded the other day. He couldn't do shit.
Were you doing the bird box?
Yeah,
he couldn't even hear what we were saying. That's ridiculous. Right? You take away his eyes and nothing works. It's ridiculous.
You would never survive with Sandra Bullock. Sorry,
Right, yeah,
I will save you, Daryl.
I would have been dead in the beginning.
No matter what happens.
Yeah, no, it screwed me up because I'm so used to reading the live chat. I couldn't read anything. I couldn't even concentrate on what the guests were saying. I was like,
I've been copying and pasting some things from what people are saying to try and keep up with some comments and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But no, I don't think it's the fact that it happens more at night. I think it's more that people are hyper aware of what happens in the dark. Your other senses automatically kick in. And so that's what kind of takes over from there.
Yeah.
This is probably gonna sound like really stupid, but it's me. Bear in mind, I don't know anything about the moon. But would it have something to do with the moon?
I
don't know how it works.
So the lunar phase absolutely has something to do. So I work in medicine. I work in a hospital. I have for years. And it's kind of one of these things that on a full moon and other shit that happens with the moon, all the nurses around are like, oh my God, there's going to be so much stuff that happens. And it's true. I really think it has to do with some type of biological force that the moon has on our bodies. I mean, hell, it's enough to dictate how the ocean works. 97% of the Earth's surface. It has something to do with how we feel. I think that there's an absolute science behind lunar phases and how that works.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, and to answer to piggyback on the question about stuff happening at night, I've been in locations during the day where I've gotten just as good evidence as I ever did at night. I mean, it all depends.
It just makes us look more badass. That's why we investigate.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Plus, that's when like the locations are shut. So it's the only chance we get.
There's less activity going on around the buildings because everybody's indoors, sleeping, whatever. Especially if it's in a more of a local area where there's people and buildings and stuff like that, businesses. So it's easier to do an investigation at night. But I've been in locations where I've gotten just as good evidence during the day as I ever did at night. So I mean, it doesn't always happen at night.
Go ahead, Alex. You look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was about to say something. then like literally, it was completely dead. I thought I got cut off again.
It got real quiet for a second there.
I was like,
hey, Arkansas.
I was like, am I still here? Okay. Like someone asked earlier. Robin asked. Well, she didn't ask. She was a statement. She keeps hearing, or he keeps hearing. My name being called. It's only at night though. It's not normal voice. It's like a husky, sort of high-pitched voice. I mean.
Yep, there he goes. Okay.
Alex just disappeared. Where did he go?
I don't know.
What just happened here?
I have no idea. God knows. I'm going to answer this question real quick from Sam McBain. Sam McBain's from Tasmania.
Go ahead.
She's always on here. Do you think some people attract paranormal occurrences more than others? I do believe they do. I do believe there are some people who do attract the paranormal more than others do. There he is. Greg, fix your camera, dude. I can't even see you.
Well, that's because you decided to put me as like half of a block.
That's how you have to be.
I don't want to hear you guys have a bro fight right now. I just want to hear you fix it.
All right, bromance. Let's hug it out.
Alex,
hug it out. What happened to Alex?
He lost his video. There he is.
Oh, what happened?
What happened?
If I get a feeling if I talk too loudly, I'm going to get cut off.
Oh, we're back to that.
We can still hear you.
That's all right. And it's like that talk radio where they're like whispering all the time right into your ear.
I think I see his American flag on his head.
Right.
Yeah.
Little beanie.
Don't pretend.
Did you know that it was illegal to put the flag on apparel until they decided that it shouldn't be illegal anymore?
Yeah.
So they made it illegal.
Yeah, that was really big in the 60s and 70s. That was really frowned upon. Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
That's all I see right now is your United States. Oh shit! There went the eyes.
And his Misfits album in the back.
And the Misfits, absolutely, yeah.
But no, to answer Sam's question,
that really hurt. That's a stretch.
What is your guys' thought on that? What Sam was asking about paranormal occurrences with some people attracting more occurrences than others.
So here's what I think about it. If I come from a family where I feel like that type of shit happens all the time, it's I think there are people who are more open to that type of activity, and there are people who are more closed off. Like, for example, you guys know that, I've been kind of on this paranormal journey for, the better part of 20 years now. And there was a long time that I really wasn't really fond of putting myself out there as someone who had any type of sensitivity to the paranormal world. But I believe that I do. And I believe that that's instilled in my family. I've seen it come through the generations. And so My mom texts me out of the blue today and says, "Are you okay?" Which is not normal for my mom. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. Why do you ask?" And she's
hang
like,
on, sorry. So did she say, "Annie, are you okay? Are you okay?"
She
Annie?
did, just like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Are you okay, Annie? I tried to say that with a British accent. But British.
Did she then
and
say, "Jamon"?
Jamon.
Sorry, carry on.
That was the that was the noise. Jamon. That was the exact noise that followed.
What is wrong with you people?
That's the noise. That's the noise Greg makes after he's had Chipotle.
It's pretty close. Pretty close.
I go. Carry on.
Do you guys even have Chipotle over there?
I was gonna say, did they have Chipotle over there?
No, but they just opened a Taco Bell in my town.
Oh my God!
What's a Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
That's not. Is that not what it's called?
So, if nothing else, you have a Taco Bell in your town. Alex.
Yes, because I'm British.
God damn it! You're not even British, are you? You are somewhere on the West Coast.
No, you're right. I'm actually Scottish.
Oh, so they serve Jameson at the Taco Bell there.
I can't keep the Scottish accent up, by the way.
I don't even remember where I was with that whole conversation.
Can we go back to your mum texted you to say if you were okay, and I said the Michael Jackson shit.
Yeah.
So there you go. So my mother, who claims to have no type of sensitivity to any type of paranormal stuff, is just like, "Oh, well, I really felt like you weren't feeling well." I was like, "No, I'm not actually." And so I believe there are people who are sensitive to it, and it's a matter of whether you decide to tap into it or you decide that you're not going to tap into it. There's a very gray line in those people. I'm one of those people who decided that I was going to tap into that type of sensitivity. I think everyone has the ability to do it, but it's whether or not you decide that you are going to tap into that level, that frequency, if you're going to experience what we experienced.
I got another question here from Ashley Rose. She's actually been on the show a couple times before, in the chats, and I think she asked this question before. I've had spirits jump at my face during the day, but only see black shadows. Why is that? If, in my opinion, that's an attachment, but you guys can comment on that as well. Anybody in the chat here want to comment on that? Just
I think some people always assume sometimes that a black shadow is usually a nasty spirit, or God damn it, they say it's a demon. But it's not. I mean, I just think it's just how you've managed to see them. I don't think it's related to if they're evil or not.
Yeah,
I agree with Alex.
Yeah.
For once, actually.
For once, I think I agree as well.
For once.
In the 2 years I've been doing this show with these guys, I think it's the first time I ever actually agreed with them. So.
No, I agree with that. I have seen spirit in all different forms. I've seen in shadows. I've seen an actual, real person. I think it depends on how open you are to seeing things. If you want to sit and really focus, if you want to meditate on how you see these different types of spirits, they start to appear to you in different ways. I experienced that after I started really focusing and doing a lot of meditating, was that spirit came to me in different ways. And so sometimes I would see them as full-bodied apparitions. Sometimes I would see them as just shadow. I would smell them. So it's all about how you perceive what you're seeing at that moment.
We got a couple people in here saying the way they see them. Elizabeth Pierce, she sees them in flickering. I think she means flickering lights, which I have seen before. Actually, me and my wife
Right.
were staying at the Cashtown Inn in Gettysburg, and this is probably 7-8 years ago, doing an investigation, and that was one of the things we kept seeing here, these like little flickering like firefly lights. It was weird, like it was almost like a firecracker when you see like the debris from it coming off of it. We've seen a lot of that in Gettysburg for some reason.
Just going back to what's, I think it was Sam that asked it, the question that Annie answered earlier about, you know, being able to see them. I think that it can run in the bloodline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people that are related, you know, can see or hear spirits, and I also think if someone suffers from a mental health issue, like as in, you know, their brain isn't wired properly, I think that also can affect it, because quite a lot of mediums that I've known in the past have some sort of mental health issue. Obviously, I'm not having a go. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying. And
Do you
I don't
think
know if
that my brain is wired inaccurately, Alex?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, I mean, you know,
No, because
I'm not gonna say who, but someone very close to me who sees them suffers from a mental illness, and he or she has said it's probably because her brain's not wired. He or she has said that it's probably because his or her brain is not wired properly that she can see them.
So if you want to get super personal and accurate right now, I will agree with you 100% and say that in the time that I have attempted to do the paranormal and associate with whatever it is that we associate with, I have physical reactions. I had a very physical reaction to something today, literally the entire day. It's anxiety. It presents as different types of physical ailments. And I've said this on shows before, that when I've gone to do paranormal investigations, I've had physical ailments that happened afterwards. I run a fever physically, like you can monitor this shit. Anxiety, I don't want to say depression, an increased heart rate. There are different things that I think you can actually monitor that come into this. And when you're talking about people who have a connection to a different sort of level, it's true. And I wouldn't believe it, not at all, if I hadn't experienced it myself.
Are you answering that, Alex, for Robin?
Yeah, I had the question, but I've lost it. I've asked to repeat it, but Craig, just before Robin, that's the second time he's asked that, so I think it might be worth responding to him.
Are you who? Craig?
Is it Craig Williams? Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Where?
I tell you read it because it's
okay.
quite long.
Okay.
You read it to yourself because it's quite long, and then I'll.
Yeah, I'm reading it now as we were speaking. Yeah, go ahead and keep talking. I'm going to read this real quick to myself and then try to answer it for him.
Okay.
No,
ahead. Someone, while you were talking, someone commented saying that they have Asperger's and they feel that because they have Asperger's, it makes them extra sensitive.
It was
and
actually, yes.
We actually said this on the last show as well, I believe. We were talking about the fact that Asperger's can make people more sensitive to, you know, the paranormal.
I think that there are a lot of this gets into a super hairy area, because, like I said, I've worked in medicine for the last 15 years. I work in a hospital. I work in a surgery center, and so my career is based in science. My life is based in something other than science, and so I see the two combining right now, and I see a lot of people who suffer from different types of, I don't even want to call them ailments, because they're not ailments, whether you say it's autism, Asperger's, things of, I believe that those people are tapping into different levels of different frequencies that not everybody taps into.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, let me.
I have go ahead.
Let me go to Craig real quick. Basically, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's like a freaking novel. But basically, he saw.
No offense or anything, Craig.
No.
Jesus Christ, Daryl.
No, I'm not.
It's only because Daryl can't read very well.
Yeah, it took me 20 minutes just to read it. No.
Fuck me.
Oh man.
From the peanut gallery up there, I finally hear something from Greg. What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, divert the attention. Yeah.
No, but he's.
I was just agreeing that Daryl can't read, but neither can Alex. So.
Basically, he says he saw a ghost face to face when he was living with his ex-wife. It was a little girl with dark black hair, about 3 feet away from him. He followed her all the way to the back door until she disappeared into thin air. So yeah, that's pretty amazing experience. Yeah, where do you live, Craig?
I think there's a lot of people that have had experience with child ghosts.
He said he lives in Australia.
Oh, okay, Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it must be
Now,
hot.
is Robin saying that your husky and high-pitched voice there, Alex?
Well, he's definitely husky.
Thank you. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
He's a cute husky though. It's okay.
You mean I'm fat, right?
No, you're husky.
Oh, I howl. Right. No. Right. Robin was saying that she keeps hearing the voice of a spirit who has a husky and high-pitched tone voice saying her name. I mean, personally, I would suggest try and communicate with the spirit. If you have, I mean, I'm assuming you have a recorder on your phone at least. If you can do it and try and get an EVP and communicate with the spirit, it's probably someone you know. It's probably someone who just wants your attention. You know, they're probably not trying to possess you or, you know, paranormal activity you. I'll just try and communicate with the spirit personally.
I totally.
I mean, how do you feel when you hear that person? I mean, obviously they're going to be around you, so how do you feel at the time? Maybe.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. Face to face.
Mary Ellen Cooper says that someone has pinchable cheeks. I want to know who she's talking to.
Probably Daryl.
No, she's talking It's talking about Alex.
Pinchable cheeks.
It's definitely Alex.
Oh God.
There's glamour shots there.
I can turn the camp on like that. It's ridiculous. It's because I'm British.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's terrible. It is.
It's terrible. It is.
What were you talking about?
Yeah, Mary, let us know who you're talking about with the pinchable cheeks. I'm putting money on Alex.
I think Daryl's got a very dyeable beard.
Oh, why would
diabolical or dyeable?
Dyeable, as in you need to dye it.
Oh.
Why would you want to dye it?
I'm just taking. Because I mean, every day he's looking more and more like Gandalf, and I find it endearing, actually.
I think what he means is he needs to
gay
die.
at all, does it?
What's so endearing about it? Jesus.
I don't know.
Oh, jeez. No, Mary Ellen says cute stars on his hat. She's talking about you, Alex.
I told you. I told you.
Look at that.
That's funny because last time we had someone here, he wanted to shoot me in the face.
Oh, Andy Rufner says, which cheeks? That's a good question.
Well, one of them is smeared in shit. So, that's disgusting.
Which cheeks?
You're so gross.
Yeah.
They're not. Just to clarify. I white.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why did I agree to do this show? This is going to be the downfall of me.
There's a reason whenever I share anything, I don't know if anyone's noticed, I mentioned it to Greg and Daryl, it's always hashtag not your normal paranormal show, because
that's true.
This is not your normal paranormal show. It's a bit like effed in the A.
Yeah.
Effed in the A.
I think we all have
in the A.
In the A.
I think we all have
The
ADD on
rain
here
in the
because
Spain falls mainly on the plain.
Well, in fairness, out of all of us, Annie's the one that's been drinking. So
I think we all have ADD or ADHD. Or
We
whatever
do.
on here because we can't concentrate on shit. We'll talk about.
I know.
All right.
I don't even remember what we were talking about
I'm
beforehand.
totally
All
lost.
right, questions.
it was
Let's see
something
what's
to do
happening
with
here.
It was something to do with the paranormal.
Something.
It was.
Let's talk about
Actually,
who's got a
in fairness-
question. Go
in
ahead.
fairness, I only got into this line of conversation because people were talking about my cheeks.
Yeah, and it went to my
Okay.
beard and went to you.
I got it. I got it.
cheek.
All right. So for everybody out there,
Taking control.
somebody should text in the chat and ask Annie a question.
Ask me a question. Ask
Yes.
anything you want. I'm an open book. I will tell you an answer, whether or not. Can you do an Australian accent, Annie? No, probably not, because
that's
I am.
English. That's English.
I am from.
Yeah,
What
that's-
I don't know what the. What's the difference between Australian and British? Oh,
The Australian
A few
accent.
thousand miles.
I can.
besides the
Okay,
mileage.
The Australian accent is a mix of Cockney and Irish
You
Say
got
cockney.
that one.
because because
I
they were.
I'm trying to do my Australian
and
accent
because
here.
of the heat, it's a higher tone as well. And
I'm
that's, an Australian person told me that.
so
and
it's a higher. So it's like it's like a
Yeah, you're getting it. You're getting it. It's starting.
oh, that is. Oh, I found it. How about that?
Yeah, you went back to British then.
Oh, how about
like Mary
how about
Poppins.
that? Was it terrible?
Mary Poppins.
Oh, good.
Well, I'm going to ask you a paranormal question, and you can attempt to answer it in an Australian accent.
All right.
Do you like ghosts?
I love ghosts. Why did you even ask
No.
a question like that? I love ghosts, and it's
Mary
that's
Poppins, yeah, great.
Yeah.
was it, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
Was that it?
No.
I tried so
No.
hard.
So Poppins.
It's hard to get people from the south to be able to
You're
do
so
that.
2,000
It's-
miles off.
Oh my god, the South is so hard. I can't
I
do.
can. Why are we-
Oh
I want to
no.
talk about accents, but I think we should talk more about the paranormal.
All right, let's go.
So,
It's,
okay.
it's like one side, the bad side of my brain is just keep fucking about, and the other side of my brain is talk about ghosts.
We could go either way. You'll just tell me which way you. I said y'all in a British accent. There you
Yeah,
go. Sorry.
yeah.
We have to kind of apologize to the people watching because you got to understand we live paranormal so much. So
We
when
do.
when we start
Hey.
talking, we just veer off the course and start talking.
Actually,
stupid
someone
shit.
just asked an interesting question, which is paranormal related, and I don't know. Someone
No.
asked.
Hey, hold on, Alex. You got to ask the first question that just popped, or the next question that just popped up. It says, what is this show about exactly? Before we can answer the other
Oh
one.
God, that's a loaded question.
It's a paranormal show that's 20% paranormal and 80% bullshit.
Yeah. So 20% working out and 80% diet.
So, someone asked, do you think someone's zodiac sign can affect their ability to see ghosts?
Yeah, Elizabeth Pierce asked that.
Oh, zodiac signs. I believe that. I believe that people fall into their zodiac signs. My birthday is March 30th. I'm an Aries, which means I'm a super hot-headed ram.
I could tell you were an Aries.
Can you tell I'm an Aries?
Right.
So I'm an Aries, and I absolutely believe that it plays a part in our in how we function. Absolutely, I think there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you.
Was that it? Was that it? That was super simple. Keep going. Come on.
No, Craig Williams asked, Annie, have you ever had a ghost like you too much?
Like me too much?
Yeah, like I guess an attachment or something.
I had an
Oh.
Irish ghost that liked you two.
Was his name Alex?
No, I don't like you two.
Can you hear my cat in the basement right now making this ungodly sound? I hope you can't right now. It's so terrible. She's making the worst, like, murder. She's making murder cat sounds right now. Have I had a ghost like me too much? I don't know, because my life for the past probably 10 years has been a whirlwind of different types of paranormal activity. I have had I don't even want to call them attachments, but people who have visited me on a regular basis that I did not know, that I've never investigated, that came to me. Actually, they were missing persons cases. I have one missing persons case who came to me for quite some time and was one of the reasons that I really got heavily into the paranormal. I've been to different locations that I've investigated and came home and had weird shit happen. I use a lot of sage and incense and trying to kind of keep these people out of my personal space, because I think they are just people too. And they are just trying to reach out on some different type of level. But I understand that if I have to separate from them, it doesn't make me a bad person. I just have to separate from their energy.
It's like unfollowing someone on Facebook.
It's like that's a really good explanation.
You're still friends with them, just you don't want to see their shit.
That's a really good explanation. Elizabeth is in the chat. I'm in the chat on Paranormal Warehouse right now, and she says the Oddfellows. I had a really strange, I don't want to call it attachment, but an experience before and after I investigated what's called the Oddfellows Farm, not far from me. And they're kind of like a Masonic type group. And I had some very strange experiences there and afterwards. And it was something that I had to cleanse my house and just basically say, this is my space. You're not welcome here. We talked there. You're okay to stay there. If I'm going to go back, we can talk there. But I don't want you in my house, because there was an odd fellow that I absolutely saw in my house for a couple of weeks, and he was not good.
Is it just sage that you use, or do you use anything else? Like
I use a lot of sage. I use a lot of incense. I use a lot of Himalayan salt to clean this area, and more of it, I think, than anything else. You know, sensitives use a lot of different things and methods as far as cleaning their space is concerned. I like to sage my space. I like to put incense here, but I also like to talk to the spirits, presence, whatever you want to call it here, and just be really honest with it and say, listen, this is my space. And if you want to make your presence known, you can do that, but we have to be on common grounds. Daryl, the Monday night when I messaged you, I got on Facebook and I did a Facebook Live about how I was going to be on Paranormal Warehouse, and I had some kind of crazy things. The house that I live in, number one, has a crazy attachment to a couple of serial killers. I don't know, Daryl, I don't even know that I've ever told you about this.
No.
So I don't even know how much time we have left in the show.
Fine. I can go as long as I want.
So the house that I live in, I bought in 2014. I love this house. My real estate agent was aware of the fact that I did the paranormal stuff. And so he sends me a message. He's like, you need to look at this house. And so I come into this house the very first time, and there's a painting hanging on the wall in the dining room. And I look at my real estate agent, and I'm like, that guy's still here. I don't know what this is. And so he and I talk, and it's a great house. It's a great price. It's in a great location. It was just, it all fell into place. And so I put an offer on the house, and I start doing my research. So you guys have seen the show called America's Most Wanted.
Right.
John Walsh, who was the host of this show for years. John Walsh was the host of America's Most Wanted because his very young son, Adam, was the victim of an abduction and murder.
Right.
So there was a picture hanging on the wall of my house when I bought it. And I found out later that that man was a police officer in the town that I live in, who was murdered about a mile from my house. The murder went unsolved for years. And after I bought the house, I started doing some research, and I found that the police officer who was murdered, his last name is Curtis. The men who were in prison for the murder and mutilation of little Adam Walsh confessed to murdering the man whose picture was hanging in my dining room when I bought this house.
Jesus.
Basically what they said was they were traveling, and it makes sense when you look at the timeline in this this crime. They were traveling from New York all the way across the country. The place that I live in is right off the interstate. And so they came off the interstate. They found this police officer who was having lunch in a local park. And they handcuffed him to his cruiser, and they murdered him.
Jesus. They were just
And
complete psycho assholes.
they were psycho assholes. And so so they left him there, and they continued to travel out west, where they abducted and murdered little Adam Walsh.
Wow. That's
I've always had stuff happen in my house. I knew from the time that I bought this house, I would have stuff happen here. And so I think it just goes to show that when you're part of this lifestyle, you're part of the paranormal. When you believe in it, it starts to believe in you.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And everything kind of comes full circle from there.
That's a crazy story. Nah, you never told me that one. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I still have things here that belong to their family.
Now you
That
when we talked, what was it, right after your live show, your live thing you did last Monday, you were saying a picture flew off the mantle.
So I was sitting in I've always had activity that happened here. And I don't know if it's attributed to me and the stuff that I do, or the type of energy, the protective energy that happened from here. And so I was sitting literally where you're seeing me sitting right now. And there's a shelf behind me, and I have a bunch of my family pictures sitting there. And one of the pictures flew off from this shelf and landed in the floor in front of me. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now. Like, is this somebody else's energy? Is this an energy that's here in the house? It's just weird. And so, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just a crazy type of energy when you are a part of what we do. It never leaves. It's always a part of your life.
Right. Yeah, it will follow you around. When you allow that energy around you and you investigate that energy and you go to these locations, it just attaches to you. Yeah, what is Alex?
I say it is weird being a paranormal investigator. How many weird occurrences you have?
Yeah, I want to go back a little bit too. There were some questions asked like 10 minutes ago. I'm hoping.
Yeah, we. I mean, people are complaining that that we're too small. That's because the dude with that's because the guy with the beard doesn't know what he's doing.
Exactly.
I'd love to see either one of you
run
this show any better.
Hey, wait! I think I'm going to be happy to do it next month, right?
What's that?
Don't I have to start doing it next month?
You're doing a live feed. That's completely different. You're doing an actual.
Well, this is a live feed too.
You're doing an investigation live feed.
Oh shit!
Would it be okay if I take this hat off because I am getting really hot?
Yeah. Let me answer these questions real quick. Andrea, question.
I have no idea what my hair looks like.
Do you have a standard routine that you do before an investigation?
Before I go into an investigation, it depends on what I'm going in there to do. Basically, if it's an investigation that I'm going in to do, like for Resident Undead or something where I know I want to get some type of answers, I do kind of like an opening. I'll sit down. It's almost like a meditation type process. And just basically open yourself to the energy that's around you so that you can receive answers from whatever's coming at you. And basically, I just do that through meditation.
Okay.
I listen to the Rocky soundtrack.
Do you?
We all do that.
Like where he runs up the stairs?
Mm-hmm.
He listens to the Rocky 3 soundtrack, The Eye of the Tiger. Shelly,
get myself psyched up.
Shelly had a question too. As I can see and feel spirits, why is it that I can have bad dreams like plane crashes, and if I don't talk about it, it will happen? I'm not sure on that one.
It's not that you're not talking about it and it happens. If you dream something and then it happens, maybe there's a connection between the two. I've learned that a really hard way in my life. And so start paying attention to the correlations between your dreams and things that actually happen. Maybe there's a correlation between the two. It's not that you're necessarily causing something to happen. It could just be that you're seeing this foreshadowing of something that's happening.
There you go.
I'm so glad we have Annie to answer all these questions for
us. Greg has quite a few questions on here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think there was like a bit of flirting going on earlier.
I see that.
Yeah. It's getting.
Flirting?
I don't know.
It's getting hot in here, man.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Time to take off some clothes. Oh.
Okay.
Except for Alex.
I took my hat off. There you go.
It's because you didn't want to be represented by the
United
United
States
States of
on
America.
anymore. No, it's a nice hat, but it's really hot, and it's hot in this kitchen.
Oh no.
Somebody said it's because Annie is beautiful.
Oh gosh. You guys don't know me well enough.
Sorry, did you say Annie?
Yeah, not you, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
He thought you said Alex, and now he's very disappointed that you didn't say Alex.
Distraught.
I find this very racist.
Yeah.
My cat just jumped into scene here, guys. Sorry.
It's funny, we had cats on the last show as well. I laughed.
Last week?
Yeah.
She just jumped onto the page for no reason here.
Funny fact,
cat's a sweet color.
During one of our shows, I can't remember who we had on, but one of my cats suddenly did a shit right next.
Yeah.
No, but like, literally, something was obviously wrong with him. I had to take him to the vets, but he literally just squirted shit all over the floor right next to me. I was like, "That's what he thinks of this show."
This is Butters. I named her from the South Park character named Butters. Oh, come on. All right, get down. Well, then get off the table.
I so
Jesus
love the fact
Christ.
you named. Is it a girl? Sorry.
She's a girl. Yes, that's correct.
I so love the fact you named her after a South Park character.
Her name is Buzz.
Dawn says she's watching us at Bob's Burgers, multitasking. It's awesome.
That is the best
amazing.
way. That is the best way to watch a show with Bob's Burgers.
'Cause you could actually walk away for 20 minutes and come back, and you're not going to miss a damn thing.
Yeah.
All right. So who else has questions? We have like 4 minutes left in this stuff here.
We'll go as long as Daryl feels like.
Oh yeah. Let's just go then.
It's just flirting again with each other. They're like flirting with each other on our chat.
Who is?
Someone calling someone beautiful.
Did we just create like this weird love connection of paranormal people?
No, because
I
I think there's like a love triangle going on. I think
That's amazing. I want to know
Yeah.
all about
Hey,
it.
guys, talk about it. You guys hooking up on here or what? What's going on?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
guys
you
tell
guys
me
need to
all
hug it
about
out.
your hookups. I would
just
love to know.
just don't start talking dirty because
No, do start talking dirty. That's the kind of stuff that we want to see.
I'm gonna get some ice out the fridge and
They're going to cut me off from having a show before I even get started just because of the shit that I
You
say.
could do anything you want on PW, believe me.
No shit.
Really?
No. Mike is going to be like, weeds. No, that's where we cut it off. So no.
So let's talk about your show a little bit before we get off here.
Okay. All right.
So you're starting.
Yeah, can I ask a question? Because I'm going to try an American accent.
Yeah.
Of course you can.
Oh, see, now I'm putting myself under pressure because I actually can do an American accent if I don't think about it.
Can you? Because I feel like there's a load of bollocks.
No, Sam said 50 Shades of Paranormal.
Yeah, 50 Shades of bullshit. Okay. I won't.
Hey, hold on. There's an actual
Yeah, go
question.
for it.
Hold on, Alex.
Is there an actual question?
Yeah. Do you use crystals in your line of work?
Do I use crystals? No, not really. I have some onyx that someone gave me, but I didn't feel like it really amounted to anything. So I don't use crystals. I know that's probably not a super kosher thing to say when you're in the spiritual line of work, but
No,
I don't
because-
use crystals.
We don't use any of that shit either. I mean,
I don't. I really don't.
They're pretty.
yeah.
They're
nice?
super pretty.
They're-
I have a necklace that has like a lava rock on it that I can put my oil in. But that's just basically so I can put my oil in it and then wear it to work. And it's like I get my lavender oil that kind of wasps up in my nose, so I don't want to murder people while I'm at work.
Brendan said, "What about
I do the same.
Crystal meth.
That's what I was gonna say.
Alex,
Brandon Shay, no, we don't use crystal meth. I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about. That's it. Yeah. No, so I don't really. I know that's
So
probably terrible.
as this is the American Ghost Hunter show, I'm gonna try and do my American accent, but I think it's kind of sounding shit right now.
Are you doing it now?
Am I doing it? I don't know. Am I doing it? I don't fucking. Oh shit.
No,
Right, okay.
you lost
Yeah,
it.
do it. Come on, I want to hear it.
So, Annie, when is your show starting?
You almost nailed it. Number one, you still have a little bit.
It's
Of
like
the
an
accent
American
there.
person that lives in Britain, so they've got an English twang to it.
I know that as a Southerner, I could never go anywhere in the United Kingdom and pretend like I fit in. They would be like, I don't know where you're from, but it's really weird and muddled. So, Tuesdays, February the 5th, 8 p.m. on Paranormal Warehouse. We are going to start our Weebs Live. We're going to do every Tuesday at 8 p.m. So if there's anyone that you guys would like to have as part of my show, please feel free to comment in here. You can tell me if there's someone you'd like to see as a guest, if there is a topic that you would like me to cover. Please feel free
Zach Bagans.
to... oh, God. I don't even know what to say to that. There 6 degrees of separation. Yeah. I don't know how it, yeah. We'll see about
You don't
that
have to
one.
answer that question.
We'll see about that one. There's time. Someone just asked in the comments, have I ever used a Ouija board? I have not, actually.
I'm using one right now.
Are you? What does it say?
I literally, because of the camera I've got is like really zoomed in for some reason. I've got the camera like a bit further back, and it's sitting on top of a Ouija board.
And what does it say? Does it give you a reading?
No, it doesn't mean anything. It's just, you see the camera. I'm holding the camera. You can't see it even if I do that really quickly. But it's just sitting on there. There we go. Put it back.
So there you go. No, I actually have never used a Ouija board. How about that?
Never, not just like as a child playing with one or anything like
I have not. I came from a super Southern Baptist religion background, and my father would have died and rolled over in his grave if he thought I had ever been using a Ouija board. I had this conversation not long ago on an episode of RE Weaves Radio with a guy named Calvin Von Crush.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin owns this place.
That guy's got like a load of cool stuff, right?
He has so much cool shit.
He's coming to the UK. I just remembered.
So get in there and examine his stuff, because he has such a cool collection, but on top of that, he has a really cool way of thinking about things. I got to get him back on the show. But we had a very in-depth conversation about Ouija boards, and no, I have never used one.
Wow.
Something I was going to ask you, because I mean, I know you love talking about serial killers and things like that.
I do.
Are you into like researching cults at all?
I am, absolutely. I'm into everything that is paranormal, which means above the normal, basically. So whether it's serial killers, cults, all this kind of stuff.
So what's your favorite cult? And that's kind of a weird question to ask.
Yeah.
I have to say, oh shit, what was his name? Jim Jones.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to lie. I'm sure Colt 45 is your favorite.
That's everybody's favorite.
Don't you mean Colt 45?
Is that a gun?
No, we're talking about the beer.
Oh.
The malt liquor.
Yeah, malt liquor.
No, Jim Jones and his whole, and I have some people who I want to bring on RU Weebs Live to talk about some things like that. Yeah, cults and serial killers.
He was the head of the People's Temple.
The People's Temple.
Yeah, he was the guy that made drinking the Kool-Aid like sort of the go-to thing with cults.
It is. You don't drink the Kool-Aid, Jim Jones. Jesus Christ, that's a weird situation. When you talk about a narcissist above and beyond all level, that's kind of what I think of. So yeah,
Adam.
Adam, yes. Well, he's
only a narcissist would get his ass waxed.
I literally told Kimmel once when we were at Madison that he had created either the greatest collection of volunteers or the best cult that you could ever imagine. Oh, Butters. Oh, check out that cat. There you go. She just ran right in front of my camera. She's super into that kind of thing. She is. I told Kimmel he had either created the best cult or the best group of volunteers ever. So
it's a little of both. Believe me.
It's both. It could be both. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Mad Crew. They are something.
The Mad Crew. They are something else.
That's such a good name for a cult.
Yeah.
I'm mean to Greg. Okay.
Because you put me in the corner. You put me in the corner.
You never put Greg in the corner. Sorry.
Oh, this is great.
Alex is sexy. What was that one? Was it sexy? back here.
I paid her to say that.
I'm sure
you did, absolutely.
Yeah.
Daryl put me in the corner.
How do you transfer money from the UK to America?
Go to the bank.
Western Union.
Western Union.
I had to think about it. I couldn't remember the name. I was trying to think, what's the name of that thing that Nigerian people use to try and rip us off?
Shelley wants to know
Western Union.
What do you think about Branch Davidian?
Oh, that was a weird. That was the
That was the Texas call out in Waco.
Yeah, they sort of set fire to the building they're in.
Yeah, the ATF did or whatever. Yeah.
You know what I remember about that? I remember being a child, and my grandparents still had this big ass TV that was in like the wooden ornate box. You know what I mean? Like the big standalone TVs. And I remember being home one day and watching all the shit that transpired at Waco on this TV. That's what I remember about that.
Yeah,
David Koresh.
I remember that pretty clearly. Yeah, that was during the Clinton era. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, we have a Waco that's by us, like a little town called Waco, and they have a great market. Just saying, amazing pizza, amazing.
A market for what, Greg?
Like it's like a store. Yeah, like a
black market for human kidneys, or like
they might have some of that there, but their breakfast is amazing and their pizza is amazing.
In fairness, human kidneys do taste the best.
Do they? What do they taste like?
Kidneys.
Chicken.
Just ignore me. I'm trying to be
such
funny.
a weird show.
Yeah.
People are never gonna watch me ever.
No, you're good.
I mean, if
they watch us, they gotta watch you.
If you don't watch our show, watch her show because it would be a lot better.
It's probably not gonna be a lot better. I gotta work through the technical shit, but after that, it might.
Once you get into
decent.
your stride, you'll be fine.
You never know. You just never know.
I'm just reading this chat. I'm just like, he might be shy, but I don't think he would. Innocent, okay. I guess.
Who's he talking about? Are you talking about
I think
Alex?
Greg.
I've not been paying attention to the chat.
Kind of our job, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg says he's an angel.
Yep.
So Alex,
that is.
who do we have on the show next week?
Your boyfriend. Johnny Hauser.
Oh, Hauser's on the show.
Oh, I thought you meant Matt Benton.
Shut the fuck up.
Let's not go there. One thing I will say is, right, with Benton, he had that look before Zach did. Just clearing that up. I got your back, man. If you ever see this, I got your back. No, Johnny Hauser from Johnny Hauser versus whatever is on the show. I say whatever because it's not always the same thing. But because last time we had him on the show, him and Daryl really sort of got really kind of intimate.
It was.
They were like, "Do you work out? I work out. You have a beard. I have a beard. This is great."
Yeah, we could kind of hit it off. If it was just a long distance relationship, it would never work.
But I may have to message him and make sure that he remembers that it's next week because we've had him booked on the was it the 3rd of February? We've had him booked on that date since October. So
yeah, we might want to drop him a line. just let him know. But guys, it's been an awesome show, like I knew it would be. I think every show we have is great. We have some of the coolest guests. We have some really cool guests coming up too. It started out, tonight. Like I said, all our guests are great, but February through what? March.
February, March,
April,
and we've got our first guest booked for April. Rick McCullum from Hollywood Ghost Hunters is gonna attempt to come on the show after last time. But it's going to work this time. We've sorted it out.
Yeah. Poor Rick.
And hopefully we've got, I say a big time because the person is like actually on TV. So hopefully that'll get sorted out. I can't say
they said
definitely.
They said they're coming on. We just don't know when they're coming on.
Yeah, basically.
It was the whole thing. The same thing with Nick and Elizabeth.
But no, we've got some awesome guests. We don't just book people based on if they've been on TV or whatever. We book people because they're good people. I mean, hence why I've had Annie on, because she is a great guest to have on our show, as we have.
Oh, bullshit, Alex! What are you talking about right now?
Just bend over so I can kiss your ass.
On his ass.
No, but we have some awesome. I mean, we've got like I said, we've got Johnny Hauser. We've got the Girls versus Ghost girls.
Girls versus Ghost.
Girls versus Girls. Fuck's sake. The Girls versus Ghost girls.
Just verse.
On the show.
Just verse. Not verses. It's just.
Whatever. And we've got MJ coming back on from Sage. We've got America Laura, who is a medium and will be answering your questions. We've got another medium, Barry John, who is on some TV shows in the UK. He's going to be on. We're going to be live from a haunted location on one of our shows in March as well. There's Ashley, it's Godwin, isn't it?
Yeah, from Ghost Adventures International.
I keep getting it wrong. I keep saying Goodwin, and I know it's Godwin.
It's Godwin.
Ashley Godwin from Ghost Hunters International is going to be on the show. So yeah, we got some awesome guests coming up.
Yeah.
Hey, there's another question for whoever. I guess.
What is
great.
Ashley,
answer Ashley's questions. Do you believe that people who don't believe can feel and see spirits more? My boyfriend is still skeptical.
Do I believe? Now say that one more time. That people who don't believe are more susceptible?
I believe that's what she said. Yeah.
Okay. So no, I think that's just people who are starting to understand that they have that sensitivity to that type of thing. I think everyone has the ability to tap into that paranormal side. It's just whether or not you decide if you're going to develop that or not. Some people it hits at all different times, and so. No, I think everyone has the ability to do it. It's just whether or not you decide that you are going to be a part of it.
In fairness, I think we all have to be skeptical anyway.
We all have to be skeptical. Absolutely. If we're going to investigate this stuff, we all have to be a little skeptical to everything we see.
Yeah, not everything's paranormal. There he goes.
No.
Out.
He's gone. He just decided that was going to be the end of it.
Oh my god, it happened. I just wish that Alex would disappear, and he disappeared. That's funny.
Yeah, okay, I'll put a muzzle on Alex next week, Sam. No problem. I'll get on that. There he comes.
Oh, and he's back. What is he wearing? Daryl exposes himself at the hospital.
At the hospital. Exposes what? You got to turn a little bit to your right, Alex. Daryl, no, I guess
the other right.
Yeah, there you go. Himself exposes himself.
I can't even see it. It's too small on my screen.
What's happening right now? What is this?
Daryl exposes himself. What?
At the hospital.
What hospital?
Oh.
Any general hospital.
I just show up to hospitals and expose myself at the front door.
And just expose yourself?
I go room to room. Just expose.
Oh, man.
All you have to do is plead insanity and it's legal.
Yeah.
It's exactly right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
It's doing that thing again where it cuts me off, and I forgot that was on there.
He just wrote that on the hat. He wears it around the damn house.
I literally just grabbed the hat quickly and put it on. I don't know why it's in my kitchen, but it is.
Everyone in England's like, who's Daryl? Why is he exposing himself to all the children?
I want to know why you got a top hat in your kitchen. That's what I want to know.
It's a British thing.
It's a British thing. There you go. All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here. Alex keeps cutting out. But guys, great show. Thanks for coming on, Annie. Can't wait till your show comes on. There he goes. He's just Can't wait till your show comes on next Tuesday. Guys, tune in to see Annie. It's going to be an awesome show. Like I said, like she was saying in the beginning of the program, give her a couple weeks, work out the bugs because it's always a rough road in the beginning. But hopefully it goes good the first time for you. Yeah, been awesome having you on. Can't wait to get you back on. And can't wait to watch your show next Tuesday. It's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Love you guys. Thank you for having me on always. And hope to see you guys sometime soon in the flesh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll see you again, probably at MadCon.
All right, boys.
All right. See you later, guys.
Well, hey, remember, you have to pass me to get to Madison, so you can see me anytime.
It's true.
Yeah.
It always feels like Greg's watching me.
He probably is.
While you're fast asleep.